Hello, you divine infinite human beings, you're all that is, ever has been, and ever shall be. I'm alive! I am alive, and Susan is alive, our dear fellow infinite human being and a pillar in this whole infinite human family, Susan Hindi, who almost died 3 times in the hospital, and I myself really am just amazing that I'm even talking. But I wanted to update you all and say hello to everyone who's been concerned about me. We are in the midst of the deepest, darkest part of the war on Earth, and it's an invisible war, but it's an energetic war, which is of course where all things are created, and which is the truth, the reality that we are energetic beings. So I have been so attacked, and I've had to of course deal with a lot of grief. For me, this time period is basically letting go of the last final fiber, the anchor that has been anchoring me to the 3D world, and it's been huge. But I feel like I'm on the other side and I'm still dealing with it. And it's huge. It's something we all have to face, those of us that truly want to ascend and take the true ascension route. Now, in my book, The Infinite Human, which I always refer to, hello, thanks for joining me. I don't have my glasses on. But I wrote something that when I wrote it, I didn't want to write it. And I was like, oh, you guys sure, And they're like, write it. So I wrote it. I wrote about the ending, about the 2 timelines, about the 2 choices that we're making. And as I have been here in America after the I see every word I wrote is the truth, and I can see how it's being carried out, and I can see the bifurcation of timelines happening before my eyes. And I can see that although the entire planet is on Earth sync, and we will be returning to Tara, unfortunately there are those who want to take with them as many as they can, as many souls as they can. And what we're seeing playing out here on the highest level is a war, not it's over us, but it's over our planet. It's over our time matrix. It's a war, not really between the Christos beings. We're just the casualties. We're just in the way. It's been a war between 2 factions that have started over, 260 billion years ago. This war began from the Elohai, okay, the biped dolphin people type things, and the draconians. But unfortunately, all we see is the draconians, and that's what everybody's focusing on. When in truth, and I see it playing out here in America so big, alla grande as we say in Italian, is that the ones who are all against the draconians are the worst ones, okay? So it's bad against worse. And so many Americans are just lapping it up. I've been scheduled and asked to be in many of these festivals, spiritual festivals, the biggest one, LA. But I see that as a show. There's so many shows going on right now about the Galactic Federation and about the upcoming elections, POTUS and everything. Everyone's on this net talking about all they're distracting you, because what's happening is this AI web is being woven around the surface. The surface of our planet was conquered. The pandemic was the conquest of it. And with the death of Queen Elizabeth, it was the passing on from the old world, of the organic, satanic ritual, all that kind of stuff, moving totally, completely into this AI world, which is their last resort. And what they've done is they formed this crust of AI around the planet. And in places like America, where it's the worst, I think it's worse than China. I really do. I think they're just saying China's bad. But I think it's the worst here because the United States was created with this in mind. After they came and they destroyed all the indigenous people who held the frequencies, then Lewis and Clark, I've been visiting their home here in Kentucky, mapped out the country, not to map it out, but to find all these power points of the Atlantean power points in the grid system, to hijack them, to stop them up, to co-opt the energy. And then they began slowly with the trade and the oh my God, the railroad and everything. So we have what we have now. I mean, nothing but concrete. And even within, there is beautiful nature here. And I'm not saying there's not a great movement, so good for those. But I'm just sensing the nature around me, and the Deva spirits are not there anymore. I'll tell you something even more shocking, disturbing, frightening. I won't say frightening, but I just want to say something I've noticed, okay? And just, if it resonates, fine. But I'm noticing that when they shut down the planet, and then they created this holographic reproduction of our planet. And what they've been doing is interfacing it. And they're interfacing, especially here in America, where the technology's off the charts. Not what we're using, by the way, but what they're using on us, with the weaponry all around us. And this is the glitches we're seeing. They're interfaced our reality with this holographic reality. And their plan, I hope they won't succeed, but their plan is to get it so much that the consciousness of the people are so into the AI, into this simulation reality, that when what I don't call it a solar flash, I just call it the point of ascension energy has reached its max, so that this artificial technology can no longer subsist. And it will be, so I wrote in my book, The Infinite Human, it will be exfoliated like a scab. Unfortunately, those who have assimilated their consciousness fully into it, and who have reversals, Metatronic reversals, to the point where they cannot overcome this AI technology with their own inner divine technology. If a person has reached that point where they can only return to source and space dust, then they'll become, I guess, what, vertigo or something. They'll become fallen and fall into the black hole or the phantom matrixes. So that's the war right now. That's the war over our consciousness, over what they're going to take with us, with them, who of us they're going to take with them. So it's very devastating for me when you write something, you download something, and then you actually come into the place and see it playing out, and you see your family is in the midst of it, and you realize that you can't help them at this point. It's very disturbing, it's very disturbing. But we're at a point where all we can do is our jobs, our soul mission, and we are going to be more useful if we extract ourselves from the 3D reality. We can't help anybody by staying in it. We can't help anybody. For me, it's too toxic, this environment. I've been overrun by toxicity. I guess you would call it COVID. But I know exactly what it was, being radiated on the plane, being radiated, I have a friend who's lived all over the world. She said the only place she ever got COVID was when she came back to the States. So this is the most toxic environment on the planet. And, and then usually you can ground yourself in nature, but the nature's a simulation, most of it. Not everywhere. I'm sure there's pockets, but it's a simulation, so I couldn't ground myself. The food is not real. It's toxic to my system. When I eat it, it makes me want to vomit. I mean, I'm surviving. I'm finding places, but it's like you're living in just total toxicity. And then, I realize I can't be here. I can't live here. Now, I'm not saying there's not really wonderful people. And my God, Terry and Linda, thank you for seeing me in Nashville, and I do want to continue my tour of the festivals that I have lined up for October. I'm going to do the best I can to do that, and just kind of say goodbye to the 3D Earth I've known. Now you can still be on 5D and live in this. It's if you're in a toxic environment, it might be harder, but I do believe there's some wonderful movements happening here in America. Wonderful movements. I see them, I feel them, and I think that's great. But you know, true ascension is when you're going to sync with the true organic, not the assimilation, the true organic earth around you, and get back to simplicity and turn inward and just feel that deep connection with divine infinite source within you. Anything else that you're watching on the YouTube channels and going to workshops to see and following people and they're just, it's just a show distracting you from what's really happening. So first you got to heal yourself within, because anything you're still holding on to, all these attachments, have to be released. And I'll tell you something, I always say the first will be last, the last will be first. Those of us who are going through it most are doing the most growth right now, okay? Everyone who's walking around and everything's fine, because this is like the Truman Show here. Everyone's like so peaceful and everyone's like, you know, fine. And you know what? They're not doing the work. And they're gonna, I hope not, but that's how the Matrix has you, you know? You just, everything's fine, you know, everything's fine. But those of us that are letting go, and I've talked to all my infinite human family, okay? I've talked to you, and I know you guys are going through hell, either physically, almost dying, you're losing, you know, spouses, you know, my God, you know, I'm not going to say who you are, but okay, I'll just say, Terry, I hear you, I feel you, you know, Linda, when you came and visited me, when I get with people in the rooms, you know, whatever, in the meditation rooms, they've shared with me, especially the women, their stories, you know, we're grieving, we're all grieving, and it's a good thing to grieve and feel, because we have lost the 3D earth, and it's a good thing, but it's the only reality we remember. It's like abusive, you know, parent, and it's the only parents we've known. So it's gonna take some grieving, but if you're grieving, you're moving, you're leaving it behind, and better things await. And it's hard for me to say that because I've been deep in the grieving, because the last remnants of any family that I had on this planet has now gone, and my current family has absolutely no, I mean, there's no consciousness there, there's no connection. But I have Kiki, and Kiki wants to go inside, so. All right, hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Hey Timothy, thanks for joining me. And Candace, Daryl, oh yeah, hi Daniel, how are you? Good. So, wonderful to talk to you, and you know, just stay organic. The most important thing, and be a human, you know, and feel and grieve, you know, when things are, and let go. That's what I would say to everyone here. Just, it's good that you're letting go, and you might not look perfect, you know, right now. And that's good, because that means you're moving through stuff, because we are, the more we release the past and the 3D reality, the evolution, the more we will be able to embody and embrace these higher dimensions. And I do believe you will, the more organic you become, the more you will find these lower toxic AI frequencies, and you will just be guided to the right spot to be in, the right spots to be. Okay, ciao for now. It's getting crazy.